What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down what really moved it today, and what just came out after hours. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. Starting off, SoFi did close 0.74% in the green, a lot of volatility, so 828 the high, 806 the low. You did also see a lot of good volume, so 48.8 million shares being traded, 38.8 is the average. So I do cover quite a few different stocks, different YouTube channels. One common thing among all of them is the fact that big money was somewhat hesitant about investing today, no doubtably about tomorrow. So I'll go over that in a second, but different scenario with SoFi. So today you did see a lot of buying. So these are all the transactions that did occur so far on the secondary market above $100,000. So quite a lot after hours. There's a couple of big ones here, 1.02, 6.9, couple sells, but 90% of everything, or a little bit more than 90%, was buys. Even the dark pool, very, very popular. So this was linked to shorting, and even in that regard, definitely SoFi stood out. Shorts were very active today on the whole broader market, increasing their position with a lot of different plays. So spoiler alert, majority of the volume that did happen across the board was attributed to algorithmic trading, obviously kind of linked to tomorrow and the optimism for that, as well as shorts. So this is why I don't really like that, because it's rather hollow. But in SoFi's case, you had a lot of big money buying, and plus you also had shorts returning. So SoFi stood out. I know it doesn't seem like it did by it only closing up 0.74%, but it definitely did stand out. Not going to use the same word as yesterday, parabolic. It's not going parabolic, but obviously it's doing fairly well. So maybe parabolic yesterday was the wrong wording, but today shorts did return 1.27 million shares. 19.09% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 199.84 million shares. Utilization 51.3. Short score is 72.34, and still, given where shorts are at, I still think that they are overextended for tomorrow. So tomorrow is a big day, in case you do not know. So the FOMC interest rate decision, and so that's coming out at 2 o'clock. And as of right now, there is a 63% likelihood of a 50 basis point cut. And a lot of big entities such as BlackRock, Citi have come out publicly and said, don't anticipate a 50, more so a 25, which in my opinion, I think it's a little bit more feasible and fair to assume a 25 is going to come, but we'll just have to wait and see, especially as well, wait and see what Powell says afterwards. As far as data points today, you did have retail sales coming out better than anticipated, 0.1 versus the forecast of negative 0.2. So shows that consumers are relatively out there spending the money, doing a good job. So that was always Powell's one and pretty much major concern. So I don't know, it'll be a crazy ride. At the same time, fear and greed index did move to kind of the greed category temporarily today. Did drop slightly to the neutral right now, but still people's appetite for risk is on the table. No actual news associated to SoFi today, but there was a couple of 144s that just came out after hours, and it is the same three candidates that always are selling. It's kind of annoying in reality. So Derek White, 61,000 shares that was done today. You also had this individual, so Robert Levitt, if I'm saying that right, 4,300, and then also Jeremy, who did sell 135,000 shares. It is the same candidates time and time again, as you can kind of see right here. So they tend to sell quite a lot. You see right here. So another Robert right here, Jeremy. It's just regrettably the same individuals. And just so you're aware, it is transaction code S, so meaning a straight up sale, not for tax purposes, because that would be transaction code F. But just to give you a good overview, let's click on Robert. So he pretty much gets his stuff, pays his taxes, and then for the most part, it looks like several months later, he sells. Or transaction code G, which is gift, kind of sketchy whenever I see that. And then you had Derek White, kind of the exact same thing, very repetitive, gets shares, taxes, sales, rinse and repeat. And then last but not least, good old Jeremy. So Jeremy Obviously, I think he gets a little bit more for the exercise, so a couple more sales in there, but pretty much, again, rinse and repeat. So these guys are definitely not on the same tier as Anthony Noto, who likes to buy a lot of stock, and I'll give you guys a quick overview of what he looks like right over here. So you see this is exercise, transaction code P, so purchase. Yeah, he definitely is a beast of a CEO. Some people oddly don't like him. I really think that he's a pretty kick-ass CEO, but still, let me know your thoughts on that. One thing on a side note, hopefully this upcoming earnings would be nice for him to say and acknowledge, is just similar to what Alex Karp did, just say F you to the shorts. That would be nice to kind of get them off of SoFi's back. But looking at options, a lot of money was getting into SoFi through options, 9.39 million in calls, 1.95 in puts. 44% of all the options being done were bearish today, but a lot of money was getting into SoFi through options. Looking at some of the call options that were purchased, you can kind of see that there is even optimism for it to be around that $9 range. So I think, honestly, for SoFi, it could be, it's a little bit more of a Russian roulette. It can go either direction tomorrow, all dependent on everything. A lot of people are as well at the same kind of estimating that if a 25 basis point does come, the market is going to sell off, because the market over this last couple of trading days probably factored in and priced in a 50 basis point cut. So if only a 25 comes, might not be the best. But this is the current open interest. So you have 19,000 at that 7, 19,000 at the 750, 70,000 at the 8, 20,000 at the 850, and then 34,000 at the 9. So let's say the individuals that were buying call options today around that $9 strike price, it comes to fruition. This is where you'll see a gamma squeeze, no doubtably, because this is a shit ton of options. My apologies on the French. But moving on right now with it at $8, or with it closing at $8.12, it is trading between the R2 and the R3. Didn't touch either today, so kind of just stuck in limbo. So 840 will be the next strong target / resistance, and then 802 will be that next strong support that you'll want to watch for. I'm looking at the 4 hour as well, just to give you a quick overview, looking at the 1 day. So above that, you'll have 885 and then 972. So again, just factor that in. But on SoFi's technicals, things are looking a-okay, higher percentile of the boiling band. Stochastic, you do see it at 66. So again, given the trajectory, as I even said, if it gets to around that 830, it will be considered rather overbought. So the first sign of weakness, you'll see a similar pullback as what happens time and time again, right here, right here, right here. But I think in general, SoFi, it needs to, I don't know, it's just stuck in limbo. I think a lot of people really acknowledge that SoFi has a lot of good future growth, but I guess a lot of people are placing so much importance on monetary policy, probably too much so, but I don't know. Number of retail investors were oddly slightly getting out today, as you can kind of tell right there. So yeah, if you guys did sell in anticipation for tomorrow, why? Do you think it's going to have a pullback? And if so, how deep of a pullback? Do you think it's going to get to around that 750 or to around this 200-day moving average, which again, around the 760 range? What's your thoughts? And what's your thoughts on all these 144s on these officers selling? Do you think this is a red flag, or do you think it's just maybe they have gambling addictions, or that's a little bit far-fetched, but you guys get what I'm saying. Actually, on a side note, I think someone did mention before in one of the comments, I haven't really dived deep into obviously these individuals' histories, but maybe one of these is going through a divorce. I remember bringing up one of these and someone saying in the comments that they're going through a divorce, or it might be unrelated to this company completely. I don't know. If that rings a bell, let me know. Having a brain fog right now. So don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with all that, appreciate all of you watching.